What's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of Cat Attacks Life on Spotify and on YouTube. As you can tell, if you're watching the video, I am on the floor of my apartment. Why, you may ask? I've been doing this recently. I don't know, just inspiration hit, and I was like, I'm just bring everything into this floor right now. Feel a lot grounded here, pun intended. But yeah, here we are. Welcome to this episode, you guys. If this is your first time listening, thank you so much for being here. All my outlets and stuff are going to be in links everywhere, but this podcast is on Spotify. I'm planning to expand it more to different services and streaming devices, so very, very excited for this. But back to the topic. Shameless plugs out of the way. We're talking about health, guys. I'm talking about health in this episode, and when you think about health, what is the first thing that comes to mind? Probably like working out, eating healthier, people running in commercials or whatever. Like, yeah, that's health. That's very surface level for me. Because when I think of health, it's not just the physical, it's not just the mental, it's everything in between, all encompassing of what we're doing. So it's also emotional health, social health, creative health, how you create things and how your imagination is doing, and then your financial health, your career, your environment that you're in. So the number one thing, and I will do a disclaimer, is that every body is different. So if you're listening to this and you take some pieces of my advice, like just know that I've been doing this for about 11 years now. Guys, it's been 11 years, by the way, that I've started my fitness journey and health and wellness journey. What works for me is not going to work for you because my body is different from yours, but you can always try it. So one thing I like about this is that it is like an experiment with our bodies. Your body works one way, mine works one way, but what works for me might not work for you. So the thing I like about fitness and stuff is that it doesn't get boring for me. Our bodies age naturally, so having to accommodate to that is like so cool to figure out and discover, like, oh, like I'm doing this now. My body's doing this now. Like it's just a big thing. I don't know. Like I said, I've been doing it for over a decade, so all of this comes to me naturally. But for those people who have just recently started working out or eating healthier or applying yourself to be more aware of these things, this is going to be a very friendly conversation, because one thing that I do want to let people know is that, yes, it is super difficult. Yes, it is super duper difficult in the beginning, and I hope that doesn't scare anyone away. But doing this over time isn't like a walk in the park. Trust me. Like when I first started, I was overweight. I was considered overweight. Very, very insecure. This was in middle school, high school. PE was my most hated class for me because I couldn't do a lot of things or didn't feel confident in these things. So I just, kept to myself. And yeah, it wasn't until sophomore year that I decided to pursue like a healthier way of living. So all of this is very difficult, It will be difficult. Because if it was easy, everyone would be doing it. So this is where I'm coming from. We're going to dive straight into this conversation, you guys. One thing that has been on my mind is that, you know how long it takes to create a habit? I'm asking you a question. Do you know how long it takes to break a habit and replace it with a new one, a better one? Let's say they say 2-3 weeks. So if you're starting a new regime, a nutrition plan, or maybe you want to eat healthier or cut sugars out of your diet, the first week of this is hell. It is absolute hell, because your body has been conditioned to eat like this for however long it's been. You are eating maybe mindlessly, maybe you're snacking, maybe that's all you want to eat at the end of a long work day is just something really fast, so you go to a fast food chain. Your body has been conditioned to do this for a long time. When you change it, and when you want to change it, the first week of this, creating a habit, is the hardest part. Why? Because you're purging the craving out. So you're going to feel it more. You know what I mean? One tip is that, or the biggest piece of advice I can give someone, and just to put this out there, is that time is going to pass anyway. This is not just, fitness and nutrition. This is actually life in general. Time is going to pass anyway. So what are you going to do within that time? If you are creating a brand new habit and wanting to eat better for yourself, like, how are you going to instill that in the time that you're in the time that is passing, in the time that is going to pass anyway? You know what I mean? Let's think about that. So it takes 2 to 3 weeks to build a new habit, to break down an old one and create a new one. When you first start being more aware of what you're eating and how you're eating, like, your body is going to feel the change, and like, you'll go through the struggles of like, this is so difficult, like, maybe I should just stop, or maybe I should just, like, oh, I don't know why I started this, like, I feel like shit. Yeah, you're gonna feel like shit. It's because what you're used to now and what you're trying to do don't like each other. They hate each other. You'll hate it. You know what I mean? For example, if you're cutting a lot of sugars and sodas out of your diet, you'll want more soda. You'll want more sugar. You just want to feel that craving. When you get past that first week threshold into the second week, like, it's going to feel a lot better. So that's just a small tip, by the way, guys, in terms of creating a habit, and we're going to get into that. So let's use what we know now, creating this habit, into the rest of our life, into the rest of our areas of health. So like I was saying earlier, it's not just physical, it's not just mental, it's also emotional, it's also social, right? The people we surround ourselves around. It's also financial, in our environment where we make money, our job, and environmental health in terms of how it relates back to us. Like, let's think about how a habit then is created if we want to change, let's say, the circle that we run in. All right, the people that we are surrounded by. If you notice and you're aware of it, then it's like some people are actually really, really heavy for you, or really ineffective in terms of the person you see yourself as or becoming. Maybe some people in your life are toxic and you just tolerate it, and then it hurts you at the end. But why does it hurt you if you tolerated it? You know what I mean? Like, for example, relationships. If you're in a relationship with someone and you know who they are, and then you tolerate that, and then you end up getting hurt, honey, come back in a full circle, because you tolerated that for yourself. You're the one who said, this is fine. I'm not going to do anything to change it because I'm too comfortable now. That happens so subconsciously in terms of, like, I still want to be in this relationship. This person could change, like, all of this other talk. But at the end of the day, it's hurting you. At the end of the day, it's toxic. So why are you settling? Or why are you tolerating this? Right? And that all goes in terms of health. So for me, when we start in our root, when we start from this place first of beginning with ourselves, prioritizing ourselves, everything else is going to become a lot clearer, because you know who you are. When you know who you are, nothing else is going to matter. Nothing else is going to influence you. Nothing else is going to stop you. When you know who you are, you'll be in this zone of, like, that's not helping me. That's not benefiting me. I need to move in this direction. I need to do this better. I want to change this because I deserve it. You start climbing up this, like, worth ladder. You are worth it now. You're enough now. But when we start creating, like, better habits to improve our lives, that's going to be, your worth is increasing to yourself, and you're not going to tolerate anything less. Okay? So that's when I think of social health, and also, like, in the environment that you're around. Let's say you're at a job and it's really heavy and toxic, and there's, like, corrupt things that are happening in and out. You're tolerating that. You put yourself there, and you're still there. So if you're complaining about it, maybe it's time to change it. Maybe it's time for you to leave it. Too comfortable. You don't want to be too comfortable. I literally left a job last year because I was done. The feeling that I was getting every single day waking up, tired and dreading it, and like my friends noticing it, and also the people that I care about noticed it. Like that night that I quit, I called up a really good friend of mine, and she was like, you've been wanting to leave for ever since I started working there, and she hadn't worked there anymore. Why don't you just leave? Why don't you just quit? And that's like a buzz phrase for me, because why don't you just do it is like the biggest push. As someone says that to me when I'm thinking about and saying these things, when I'm complaining about something, that's when I do it. So I did. And that night I wrote the letter to resign, the email, and that's all she wrote. And for me, that was the biggest step I could do for myself, because I was not going to tolerate this environment anymore. I was done. It wasn't serving me, my purpose, my service to people. Like, I want to help people, not feel so drained in an environment that has nothing to do with where I'm going. You know what I mean? So that was the biggest responsibility, and took accountability for of my life in the last couple years. It's such a big deal, because then everything started to get clear, and everything started to move in the direction that I really wanted to move. I became a lot happier. I became a lot more, lively, and like my circle runs small, and like I do a lot of things. I'm on the internet. I'm trying to put myself out there to have a following and to build a community where I can help people. And now let's segue into this announcement. Like, my website for Cat Attacks Life and my Cat of Wands Tarot are going to be one, so I can provide services that people can book online, and I can have sessions and healing circles, and all of it is going to be a community. Like, this is what I want to do, and this is what my purpose is. This is what my service to people is. So once you figure out that for yourself, we start working from the inside out. You know what I mean? We're starting to work from the inside out. And when you take care of yourself, when you prioritize yourself, when you put yourself first, everything around you is going to reflect the fact that you're worth it. Everything is going to reflect the fact that, like, yes, I am this boss bitch. And yes, everything is working in my favor. You know what I mean? You can't just manifest from a place of, I want this so bad. You're not manifesting at all. You want this because you feel like you don't have it, but babe, you can't manifest from a place of lack. You have to work from the inside out. Know that everything you have is here, and we start moving. Okay? That was a lot, guys. Let me take a deep breath. Which segues into our next thing. So it's been a really fulfilling journey. It's only May right now as I record this in 2023. Can you believe it, guys? It's almost halfway through. Who said it could be June 2023? Who said we could be halfway done with 2023? Like, in my opinion, I think that the wave of people who are starting to wake up is really impressive. Like, I really adore it. I'm here for it. I'm part of this. Like, let's go. Are we running? Are we running? Because I'm running too. So yeah, let's continue to involve ourselves in these conversations, and like, taking care of yourself should not be seen as selfish. I think that I really don't like when I see older generations of like, oh, like, you work for your family, you do this and that, how come you don't have kids? Like, that is such a played out conversation, because not all women and also men need families, right? Like, we don't need to provide for a family when we can barely provide for ourselves, Karen. I'm not going to get into it. But, like, I think the wave of people starting to put themselves in this position of power for themselves is, like, so needed. And it's so impressive, because then down the line, the other generations are just going to continue this and work for it and work towards a place where, like, everyone can feel seen, heard, validated, and we're all making money. It's never a competition. There's room to eat at the table all the time. I don't have competition with anybody except myself, right? So if I resonate with people, I love it. If I don't, then I don't. But if I can find my community and find people who speak my language, that's like the biggest thing I can do for myself, and the service that I can provide, and my purpose in life, right? Like, let's keep going with that. Let's be an advocate for people who have their own business and people who want to change and inspire. Like, let's be advocate for that. So again, manifesting these different things, because it is possible and anything is possible, as I like to say, anything is achievable 100%. Segueing into it, just a little thing that I want to share with people. So recently came across this video and videos, if you guys are familiar with Dr. Andrew Huberman. He is like a psychologist, like a neurologist, like physiologist, all of it. Fun fact, did you know that people who breathe through their mouths hold more anxiety? And like, not getting to the zone of like bigger people or like overweight people, but people who breathe through their mouths, that could be anybody, have more anxiety because they're not regulating the oxygen in their system correctly. When I learned that, you guys, my brain went poof. Like, that makes so much freaking sense as to why meditation, yoga, following your breath helps you so much with your what is it? The way that you expend your energy. Like, new world opened up. I was like, that's why breathing is so helpful when you are stressed or when things are happening. You take a deep breath in and out, and it just gets a little clearer. It's because it brings you back. And when you have anxiety, you're not back. You're gone. Like, let's bring yourself back. So I thought that was really interesting, you guys. Dr. Andrew Huberman, his videos and podcasts is just very, very informational. And that's the kind of language I talk with, like taking care of your body and your health and knowing what your body is doing. So look him up if you are interested. Also on the topic of like body and wellness, like, I did want to bring this up, by the way. We're gonna get into this, but let's talk about body positivity. What do you guys know of body positivity, right? Like, I love you and your shape, and doesn't matter what your shape is. Yeah, I'm a big advocate. Like, everyone deserves to feel confident with themselves, and I love that for you. You know, my thing with body positivity, you guys, is that I hate when it is a justification for eating like you don't love yourself. Think about it. People who are, advocates for body positivity, and I hope it's a lot of people listening to this. You ever meet someone who's like, yeah, well, I love myself, this and that, and they're stuffing their faces with like the heaviest, unhealthiest foods imaginable all the time? If you don't notice it, I notice it. I will notice it first, because it's like, baby, if you love yourself, you're not going to be doing that to yourself. If you love yourself, you're going to be aware of what goes into your body because you want to take care of yourself. That's my biggest thing with body positivity. Do not use it as a justification to eat like shit. 100%. 100%. Take care of yourself. Drink more water. I don't know. Like, that just helps a lot. You know what I mean? But yeah, and the other side of it, like, body positivity is so important, because like, you don't know what people go through. You don't know what kind of like disorders they've gone through, or maybe they were in an accident, or maybe their hormones are messed up and like they have to live the rest of their life like this, or like trauma, right? All these life things that happen. Like, it's so important. Maybe they have a disability. Like, it's so important to spread that message, because every single person needs to feel really, really like they love themselves and they're represented. And that's another thing, is representation. Like, we're seeing more, I want to say like different body shapes out there, and like I said, people with disabilities being represented, because that's what we need. These people exist too. I really hate the fact that every single commercial and different like bougie ads are people who are perfect, people who are 5'8" models, nice and lanky, nice color skin. Sometimes it's only white, or like no people of color, whatever. I'm not gonna get into it, but like, people who are represented in such a pristine way, that's not reality. Those people exist 100%. But if you're telling me that this perfume costs this much because this person can afford it and they look like this, like, you're not sending a message to people who like would love to involve themselves in your company. You know what I mean? Like, More people of color need to be out there. More people with different body styles, body shapes need to be out there. More people who are in the queer community, LGBTQIA plus community need to be represented. Like, this is why I choose to put myself out there more, is because this is who I'm representing. I don't know about you. I'm cute or whatever. You know what I mean? I'm cute. I'm here. I living. I'm serving. I'm giving. You know what I mean? So that's what I want to see, and this is why, like I said, I'm more of an online presence, is because I want to let people know that people like me exist. You know what I mean? Like, I have all my opinions and on all my thought processes, and way to connect with people is through this little screen that you're watching right now. And if it works out, welcome to this, ride. Welcome to this party, because everyone's invited. So everyone who gets it is invited. Let me get that clear. Everyone who gets it and speaks my language is invited to this party, okay? So yeah, body positivity, representation is so important. Like, if you don't see the representation and you're upset about it, you be the representation. You put yourself out there. You break through that, threshold of feeling small, because you are everything and you deserve to have people resonate with you, okay? You belong, is what I'm saying. So, yeah, guys, like, this is what I'm on. That speaks on health in every single way. Let's create a better community, and let's not be judgmental, because we don't need that. We don't need any of that. Like, you can keep your opinions to yourself. If you have nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all. The door is right there if you want to say something. Because we're not welcoming that into my space. Okay. And I think that's just the perfect way to close this podcast. You guys, thank you so much for listening. Nice and sweet and to the point. I really, really appreciate it. Again, so many big things happening, and I really want you guys to be there. Keep updated and contact me if you want to on Instagram. It's KATMUGOT. Kat Mugot is my name. YouTube, Spotify, TikTok, TikTok, and all of these things. I am on these platforms. Keep in touch, keep up with me, all the good stuff. Again, thank you for listening to this episode. There will be more in the future, and I'm very excited to have my friends on and different guests on and just expand it. So, again, thank you for listening to Cat Tax Life. I will see you next one, guys. Stay well, be well, love you. Mwah.